Hey guys, Chef Beardsley. It's finally time to start some upgrades on the DBXL 2-stroke. In this video, there she is. It's never been ran. I just want to get the diffs done before it's all dirty so I get no dirt in them and all that stuff. The diffs I'm going to be putting in are the hot racing in inner diffs, and then the FID racing diff cases, because I heard that's a weak spot. So I said before I even run it, I'm going to replace the diffs. I also have all the outerwears, a motor mount, kill switch, chassis support, Bartolone pipe. But first things first, I want to get the hard stuff out of the way. On the diff, we're going to take the screws out in the front and stuff. I'll show you guys all that after I set you up. We're going to do the back and the rear. I got, for diff oil, I got 6,000 for the 60,000 for the rear, 30 for the front. Stock it comes 30 and 30, but I want to thicken up the rear a little bit. And this 6,000 I might put in the shocks because I don't like the way they feel. But we're actually live right now on RC Guy Garage's YouTube. If you're not following him, shoot him a follow or subscribe. He's a good guy. Fun live streams. I'm on there a lot. But yeah, let me set you guys up, and we'll take the one diff out and see what happens. All right, guys. So I'm gonna start with the back diff. I got one of these stands, the rigid. If you've seen my shed working video, to hold it, seems pretty good. Seems pretty sturdy. My goal is to try to have this set up and do kind of like a time lapse of me getting it off. It looks like all you have to do is remove these two screws, bend this up out of the way, and then disconnect the sway bar in there, and then back out these screws, and you should be able to get right to the diff. So let me see if I can set you guys up. 1 second. All right, guys, I'm not sure how that hyper thing worked on my camera, so I got these brackets out. So now I gotta take these two screws out at the top and the drive shaft, and other than that, it should be that back differential should come out. It's pretty simple. I laid everything out how it should go back together. These are the two I took from the front. They go into this. This is the sway bar mounts here, and then this is your sway bar, obviously, and then these are the brackets that hold the diff in. They're keyed to only go on this way, and they're labeled left and right, and the longer screw goes in the bottom. So let me take out those top screws up here and this drive shaft, and we should have the next part of the video should be me with the differential on the bench. All right, everybody. So I was wrong. You don't have to take these two screws out. I thought that was a bracket. It is not. It's to hold the diff together. All you had to do was give it a good pop, and it popped right out. I ended up taking this whole tower off for no reason, so I screwed it back on the bottom. You just literally just give it a good shove, and it comes right out. There is a weird issue that, like, when you spin it, I feel like there's no grease in there. It gets like, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it gets tight right there, and it's chunky, and it's never been run. So I don't think there's any grease in there. So it's kind of good I'm doing this before I run it. So I'm going to put marine grease in there on the outer gears. So let's bust it open and see what happens. Now we're going to take these grub screws out and take those out. Take the case off and see what happens. And then we're going to replace the inner one with these, the hot racing, and these do work on the electric ones from what I hear. Don't quote me, but I heard they work. And same thing with these. These are going to be the outer ones, obviously. We're going to reuse all the parts, all the seals, all the bearings. Actually, no, not the bearings. I have fast eddy bearings I'm going to put in there. So I'm going to set you guys up, try one of those fancy fast forward deals, and see what happens. Alright guys, sorry I forgot to put that fast forward fancy stuff on, but it was just 3 screws. You should be able to take out 3 screws. So we're gonna, let me set my tripod, and we're going to bust this open for the first time and see what the insides look like. Like I said, this is the first time this has been taken apart. It's never even been ran before. So we're going to give it hell and see if there is any grease in here. I don't think there is. Yeah, there's very little, if you can see that. If it'll focus. There we go. Yeah, very, very little grease. If any, they're just like little dabs. So I'm going to pull the gear out. Just gonna set that right there on the plastic. When you're doing this, you want to make sure you have no particulates in here. Like, that's why I want to build a new bench. I didn't want any kind of garbage in here. It feels like there's diff oil in there, because I know they're known to leak. So like I said, we're gonna take this apart, put this, hold on, put this on instead over here, and then see what happens. I'm surprised there's oil in it though. Like I said, I heard that that's an issue, that it didn't leak. So, alright, let's get to it. Alright guys, so I got into the diff. Looks a little low, to me at least. Not too bad. Gears look good. I'm glad they do. Like I said, it's never been run. So we're going to take the diff gears out. I'm going to use my picks. Hopefully I can get in there. There. Like I said, we're going to reuse all the stock parts, just swapping the cases over and putting thicker oil in the rear. Come on. This last gear is giving me an issue. I'll be right back, guys. Let me get this last gear out. Alright guys, so I finally got the gear off. It was kind of a pain in the butt. It was on there pretty good. So all I did, I wasn't worried about this diff case because obviously I'm going to change it. So I just went through the bleeder hole with a really small screwdriver and just pried it up as hard as I could, because I wasn't worried about oblogging this out. Or oblogging. Oh my god, I can't speak English. But messing this hole up, because like I said, it's going to be a different case. So I got that out. We're going to reuse everything. So where's my pick? Actually, Neil knows this. Grab this out. Make sure it's lined up with the hole. Just push it through the bleeder hole. Here's your pin. Drive cup comes out. Bearing, which will be replaced with a sealed, because I don't like how they're not sealed. And then don't forget your washer, or spacer, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of like an extra seal, honestly. And then there's a seal right here. Don't forget that seal. And that's it. That's everything out of this. I'll keep this as a spare, which I probably don't think I'm going to need. But you never know. That's how you keep parts around. So let me clean this up a little bit. I'm not going to use anything fancy. Okay, so now we're going to go and install. Put it back together. Just the hot racing. It's good quality. But alright, so now what we're going to do is grab our fast eddy bearing. Make sure it's the right size, which it is. Make sure if you're swapping the, what are these, bearings, it's the right one. This might not be the right bearing. Oh, it is. Oh, like that. Stupid mistake, my behalf. And then drive cup in. And then your seal. I left a little bit of grease on here because I wanted to help it get a seal. Push it down in there. You guys probably like, oh, such a noob. Oh my god, what an idiot. It's fine. I support it. Put your bearing back on. Then your drive cup. That seal pops up. Just push her on back down. I recommend wearing gloves. Don't be like me. Or as some people call them, bitch mittens. Get that seated. You can probably seat it with the spacer / washer that goes in there. But I just want to make sure it's seated completely before putting it in there. Sorry, it's hard to see, but make sure it's seated all the way. Washer or spacer, whatever you want to call it. Just using the pliers. Give it a push, make sure that's all we seated down. Now it's time for the screw hole or the bleeder hole. Sorry for bad camera angles, but I'm doing what I got. There we go. And that just goes together the same way you took it apart, just backwards. That's in there. Nice and seated. I did grease these up a little bit ahead of time. Make sure this lines up with the pin. Should just fall right into place. You might have to push it a little bit, but make sure it's seated. Like I said, you can wear gloves, even though I call them bitch mittens. But I just wet my hands off on my pants. Like a man. Good. This is grooved, so make sure everything is lined up. And there should be, I don't know if you guys will see, but yeah, you can see it, that little flat spot. Make sure it's facing up, because the gear that goes above it should lock into that groove. Just like that. I always make sure it spins nicely before I put the top on and the oil in. because it would suck to put diff fluid in and then have to redo it. Yep, feels good to me. Now that I'm swapping out bearings, I'm going to swap this one too, because it's an open bearing. Let's pry this up. Basically the same concept, just a little easier because it's not down inside like a bowl. Take the track out, pop your bearing off, grab in your fast eddy bearings, make sure it's the right size. Looks good to me. And then pop this bad boy on here. This also has a seal underneath this spacer, which I just popped off. Push this down, make sure it's seated. Like I said, gloves are nice, but I'm good. Push the pen through, and it's boom. Good. You guys, so briefly, real quick, my camera messed up here, so I don't have a video of me putting the diff oil in there. Yeah, like I said in the video, it's only 60 weight, 60K weight, and yeah, you just fill it up right, but like I line it up right, almost the top of the gear. But yeah, I missed, for some reason my camera shut off, so that part is missing. Sorry. All right, guys. So now, after a beer run, of course, all the bubbles are out. As you can see, it's like super clear. It's right below the top level there, a little low, which that's how I like to do it. But it takes patience. Like, if you want your stuff to run well and you don't want air bubbles, you don't want all this stuff, take the time. Like, let it sit, let it get the bubbles out, turn it every once in a while. Drink a beer, iced tea, whatever you can drink, and just relax. Get it done. Watch some YouTube. Alright guys, trying a different angle here. So the diff's all cleaned up. I don't know if that's the right spot to hold it. It feels really good. You can definitely tell it's thicker from the factory. I didn't have enough oil in it. Yeah, here we go. You can see that. And then, yeah, feels good. Nice and clean, ready to go. So I'm going to put it in the FID racing case. So let's put this bad boy together. I'm going to get some of my, what is this? Marine grease. That's what I use. You don't like it? I don't care. I'm going to put it little inside. So I like it. I'm sure you guys are really doing it, but just how I do it. I've never had an issue doing it this way, so I'm going to stick to it. Take a look now. Put the screws on there. Okay, both sides. The bearing goes. I doesn't need everywhere, but I'm not worried about using stuff. Gotta get more like gears than anything else. So now, this is nice now. Put this bad boy in here. Actually, let me grease this up first. So we're going to get messy. Once again, you can wear gloves, but I don't. So nice coating on the gears. I'm going to hit around here, just because I know it's unlikely to know. I don't care. So put some little bit of rolls for some waterproofing action. This is on ringers. Nothing crazy. You can pack these if you're going to do like crazy water things and all that stuff, but I just want enough to be good. So this goes here. Alright guys, sorry about that. My phone fell. Getting this bearing seated was more of a bear than I thought it was going to be, but I got it. What I did was I set it like this on the bench, stood up with equal pressure. I pushed it. Honestly, if you get a socket big enough to like just go around this rim here, put it in a vise and slowly crank it down, it should mush it together. But I don't have a vise in here yet. But yeah, it's good now. She ain't going nowhere. Still smooth. Still feels good. But yeah, that was a pain. So next, I'm gonna swap these bearings also to the fast eddy bearings, which are these two. Let's see this one. Looks good to me. Yes, sir. I'm gonna keep those as spares. Let me check this one. Yep, same size. All right, cool. Put a little bit of grease on this guy. So everybody has their own way of doing things. That's how I do it. Granted, I might have used a little too much diff oil, but whatever. What are we gonna do, you know? It happens. We're not doing rocket science. It's for a toy car. And what's the worst that happens? Blows up, drains, and then I'm stuck with more content. Oh well. Live and learn, right? Put our bearings on. Wrong bearing. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed that this didn't come with sealed bearings already. But that's what it is, you know? Alright guys, my fault. I didn't realize my camera switched over to a photo. So what happened was I replaced that screw with the grub screw. It does come with the kit, or with these diff cases in this little bag. And it's its own screws to hold it, the inner case together, these. So now that that's done, I did take it to the vise in the basement and put a sock on either side, like I said, and smushed them together. Way easier, way easier. It is smooth, and all that, everything's lined up. I think she's gonna be good. And then it comes with the screws that I dumped out earlier to hold it together. I think I'm debating either red Loctite or blue. I think I'm gonna go blue for back here. No, it's gonna have a lot of heat though, huh? Let's go red. Screw it. I'll worry about it if I have to get back in there, or when I get back in there. Especially because it's gonna have a lot of vibration, a lot of heat. That's a little much, but screw it. That's later chef's problem, not today's chef problem. Man, doing this with a camera, it's not easy. I have like way more mess ups, like too much grease and not enough grease and all that stuff. Everything happens when you're on camera, I guess. RC guy garage was right. Alright, so let me cinch these down. I'll give you one final look, and then we'll put the whole back of the truck together. Alright guys, so it's all cinched up, ready to go. Feels pretty good. So now, obviously I put the dry shaft on. My next step is to put it back in the truck. I'll set you guys up for that fast forward fancy stuff, and get it all back into the truck. I'm not going to show you the front because the front's the same thing, but they only go in one way. So like this is the rear, so the big side of the pumpkin is going to be on the left, and the front is going to be on the right if you're looking at the back of the truck. Yeah, so I'm going to set you guys up, and then I'll probably put, because to take this off, I had to take off the chassis support. I got new ones of those, so I'll probably put the rear one on, because what's the point of putting this back on if we're going to replace it anyway. So yeah, let me set you guys up, and then we'll get that going. All right, everybody, she's all back together. Everything moves pretty good, even if I hold the tire. If I can hold the tire, there we go. Actually looks really good in there. I did mess up. I forgot when I was putting these back screws in here. I I forgot to pull the back bumper down before I did that. So I just had to back them out, put them back in. But other than that, it went together pretty well. Pretty easy. But I'm going to get the new chassis brace in. The aluminum one. I got to put these boots on still, which I might use RC Guy Garage's trick with the hairspray. But that's done. Like I said, I'm not going to bother filming the front. It's going to be a little different, but not anything that you guys can't figure out really. It's basically the same as the front at the back. But just remember, pay attention to what side the big side of the pumpkin's on. In the back it's on the left. In the front it's on the right, on that side. Because if you put that in backwards, you gotta take it back apart. So yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with me during this, because it's my first time filming as I work on stuff, so it's trial and error. Hopefully I can get a GoPro and some other cameras soon, so it's a little better quality for you guys. But like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys soon. Alright guys, I know I ended the video already, but just a quick overview of the front. On the front bumper, there is the ones in the front like the back, but there's two underneath right there. And for the front chassis support, I use the stock screws, because the screws that came with this support are shorter, and I'm sure it's because that back piece back there had a nut on it, but I just reused the longer ones. But yeah, it's all set up, all good to go. So next step is probably the Bartolone pipe. The only thing that's gonna suck is I have to drill through the chassis for a brace. It's only one hole, and honestly it's not gonna hurt it. It's just I wish they designed it a little differently. So stay tuned for the next part, and she should be broken in and batched soon. Again, like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching.